Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we really get into the weeds of game mechanics and strategy, figuring out what makes the most interesting systems tick.
That's the plan.
And today we are stepping onto the mythic fairway of Tee Legion TCG. We're going beyond just the cards themselves.
Right, we're looking under the hood.
Exactly. We're diving deep into the core math, the dice systems that turn golf into this incredible duel of knights commanding dragons using ancient relics, all on these living courses. It's quite something.
It really is. The blend is unique.
So our mission today is pretty focused. We need to really dissect the two key dice roll systems that basically determine everything that happens on your turn.
The absolute foundation.
We've got the strike roll, which is usually what the knight uses when commanding.
Or when things get desperate and the knight has to hit themselves, yeah.
And then there's the shot shape roll. This one's tied to the relics, the gear, the swing techniques, the caddies. It shapes the actual swing.
And understanding these isn't just helpful, well, it's essential if you want to master the game.
You really think so? Non-negotiable.
Absolutely. Tee Legion shines because it mixes that TCG depth with real golf logic.
Yeah.
And these rolls, they are that logic quantified.
Okay.
You have to get that every single outcome, from a perfect 1 to a disastrous 6 on that D6, it's deliberately mapped. It connects directly to a strategic opportunity or a vulnerability.
It affects everything.
Everything. Your resource use, your tempo, whether your big scary dragon is even on the board next turn, it all comes back to these rolls.
Right. Okay. Before we dive into the rolls themselves, maybe we should quickly touch on the core stats, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. We'll be throwing these terms around a lot.
Good idea. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so first up is YDS. That's your yardage, basically raw distance down the fairway. Simple enough.
The baseline movement.
Then HD, which is hit damage. That's the raw striking power, how hard your dragon hits.
Crucial for taking out opposing units.
Then DG, Dragon Guard. Think of this as like defensive armor, or maybe morale for the dragon unit. It's what keeps them in the fight.
Exactly. It's their staying power.
And finally, GP game points. This is your main currency, what the knight spends to activate relics, use abilities, make things happen.
Your action economy, basically.
Perfect. So these stats, YDS, HD, DG, GP, they're what the dice rolls are actually manipulating.
That's the connection. And remember the structure. Knights command the overall strategy.
Can't be command zone, yeah.
Dragons do the hitting, usually from the lance zone.
The battleground.
And relics are the tools, the clubs, the techniques, the advice that modify how that hit happens. And the whole sequence from tee off to maybe landing in the water, it hinges on that single D6 roll.
Okay, let's get into it then. The shot shape roll. This feels like the heart of modeling the actual golf swing, right?
It really is. It's the game's engine for trajectory, for control. It models the curves.
Like draws and fades.
Exactly. Draws, fades, but also the mishits, the hooks, the slices, even the shanks. And the key thing, as you said, is it's tied directly to relics.
So the gear you equip, the technique card you play, the caddy guiding the shot, or even the swing stance you adopt. That's what triggers this roll.
Precisely. It governs the physical quality of the swing itself. And this is a really important design choice. It separates the swing's shape from the dragon's inherent power. Meaning a dragon card might say 300 YDS. That's its base potential. It's always got that potential. But how it achieves that distance, or if it even gets close, or if it veers wildly off course, that's determined by the relic used and the resulting shot shape roll.
Ah, okay. So the dragon provides the engine power, the relic provides the steering wheel, and the accelerator finesse.
That's a great way to put it. It keeps the dragon stats stable and understandable, but lets the relics introduce all the strategic variation and, frankly, the risk. It's the curve engine.
And the core mechanic here, the thing that creates so much tension, is this 1d6 power curve. You mentioned it earlier, 1 is best, 6 is worst.
Exactly. It's inverse. Rolling low is good. 1 is the absolute best.
Yeah.
Perfect strike, clean outcome.
And as you roll higher,
things get progressively worse. The quality drops, the potential for disaster ramps up significantly as you approach 6. Every player feels that tension when the die is rolling.
let's walk through it roll by roll. What's a what? Roll 1. Straight. Perfect contact. The wind state is calm. Your dragon delivers its baseline YDS and HD exactly as written. No fuss, no muss.
Safe on fairway.
Totally safe. No hazard check needed. It's the clean, reliable shot.
Okay, moving up. Roll 2.
Roll 2 is the draw. Think controlled power. Often linked to having a tailwind helping you out. Mechanically, this is where you see the first bonuses kick in.
Like what?
You get plus 100 HD hitting it harder and plus 50 YDS for a bit more distance. You've shaped the shot slightly, but in a way that maximizes force. It's aggressive, but still safe. No hazard risk.
Nice. And the opposite number, roll 3.
Roll 3 is the fade. This is the counterpoint. Controlled. Control, you could say. Often happens when facing a headwind. You're prioritizing placement and stability over raw power.
So, defensive stats. Exactly.
Yeah.
You gain plus 100 Dragon Guard, DG, making your dragon tougher, and you still get a respectable plus 50 YDS, so 1, 2, and 3. That's your fairway zone. Controlled, tactical shots. You're making progress without taking huge risks.
Right, the money zone.
Yeah.
But then, we cross the halfway point on the die. Things get dicey.
We really do. Now we're into the territory of mishits or high-risk plays. Roll 4 is the hook.
The big curve left.
The big curve left, yeah. Often associated with left crosswind. Now, the game does reward the sheer energy of this wilder swing. You get a massive distance bonus, plus 150 YDS.
Wow, okay, that's huge. But there has to be a catch.
Oh, there's a big catch. Because the shot is so uncontrolled, so exposed, you take a significant hit to your defense, negative 100 DG. Your dragon is suddenly much more vulnerable.
And that negative 100 DG isn't just a number, right? That could be critical.
It absolutely could. Your opponent sees the DG drop. Maybe your dragon was just tough enough to survive their main attacker. Now, maybe not. That hook just put your dragon in the kill zone for next turn.
You traded distance now for safety later.
Precisely. And there's more. If the strike itself misses its intended target and you rolled a 4, that triggers the bunker hazard tag.
Ah, the first hazard.
The first hazard. It's recoverable. You can get out of the bunker, but it comes with a mandatory penalty just for landing there. You lose 100 YDS on the recovery shot attempt, representing that awkward lie.
So the hook pushes you way down the course, potentially, but might land you in trouble. Makes sense golf-wise. Deeper, but maybe in the sand.
Exactly. It maps perfectly. Then we get to roll 5, the slice.
Big curve to the right.
Right curve, associated with a right crosswind. Now, unlike the hook, which at least gave you raw distance for its wildness, the slice represents just weak contact, a glancing blow.
So the stats reflect that.
They do. You lose on both fronts. Negative 100 YDS and negative 100 HD. Less distance, less power. It just feels bad.
Anemic is a good word for it.
It really is. And if this shot misses and triggers a hazard, it's the rough hazard.
Okay, so bunker for hook, rough for slice. What's the rough like?
Rough implies a chaotic recovery. Getting out is trickier, and the penalty reflects that. It's a negative 100 HD penalty applied if you try to retrieve the dragon. So the slice costs you distance and power initially, and makes recovery harder hitting. It's a tempo killer.
Ouch. Okay, that leaves the big one. Roll 6.
Roll 6.
Yeah.
The dreaded shank. This isn't just a curve or weak contact. This is like hitting the ball sideways off the hosel. Total system failure.
Sounds bad.
It is bad. Often tied to gusting wind conditions. The immediate impact is a massive distance loss. Nagish 150 YDS. Straight up. Gone.
It's vanished.
Poof. But that's not even the worst part. Rolling a 6 forces an immediate hazard check.
Another roll.
Another d6 roll, yeah. Just a simple check. Odd or even. If you roll odd, your dragon is immediately banished to the hazard zone. Gone from the lance zone.
And if you roll even?
If you roll even by some miracle, it stays in play. Maybe it hit a tree and bounced back onto the fairway, who knows? But it's pure luck saving you from immediate exile.
So a 50-50 chance just to keep your unit on the board after rolling a 6? That's intense.
It is. You roll a 6, lose massive distance, and then hold your breath for the coin flip. And the hazard mapping for a 6, it's the absolute worst.
Water.
Water hazard is the default. Deep trouble, hard to recover from, or depending on the specific card text of the relic or situation, it could even trigger an OB seal.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds. Final. Permanent exile for that dragon card. No recovery possible.
Wow. Okay, so that progression makes total sense. Hook leads to bunker, recoverable penalty. Slice leads to rough, trickier recovery penalty. Shank leads to water, or potentially OB, catastrophic loss.
Exactly. It mirrors golf reality. Good contact 1-3, you're safe. Bad contact 4-5, you're in trouble but can recover. Terrible contacts, you might just lose the ball entirely. It's elegant design, really.
Okay, this really clicks when you emphasize it's tied to relics.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that connection more. Why relics specifically? Why not just have dragon sometimes hook or slice?
It goes back to that design philosophy. Keep the core units, dragons, relatively stable and predictable in their raw potential, but let the tactical choices, relics, introduce the dynamic outcomes and the risk.
So the relic is the active choice that determines the quality of the attempt.
Exactly. The dragon has the horsepower, YDS HD, but the relic is the specific tool, technique, or guidance you're applying in that moment. It makes your choices feel more impactful. Let's break down how different relic types interact with this.
Sounds good. Let's start with gear relics.
Yeah.
Clubs, basically. Or armor, maybe?
Yeah, things like specialized drivers, irons, wedges, or even stabilizing bracers. They directly shape the numbers, maybe adding base HD or YDS. But where it gets really interesting is with gear retrieval relics.
The ones you use to get dragons out of hazards.
Precisely. Say you use a special rescue wedge gear card to pull a dragon from a bunker. You still have to make a shot shape roll for that retrieval attempt.
Ah, so the quality of the escape shot matters.
It absolutely does. If you roll a 1 straight with that wedge, maybe the dragon comes back cleanly. Maybe even gets a small GP refund for the efficient escape.
Right.
But what if you roll a 4 on that retrieval shot? The dragon might get out, sure, but that plus 150 YDS bonuses might now fling it way past where you wanted it on the board, maybe into another bad spot. The relic's inherent shot shape dictates the outcome of the rescue.
So even gear isn't just flat stats, it uses the whole 1/6 curve.
Yeah.
Got it. What about swing relics?
Swings are more about form and consistency. They often manipulate the probabilities. Maybe a certain swing relic says, when making a shot shape roll, treat a roll of 5 as a 3.
Oh, interesting. Mitigating the bad outcomes.
Exactly. They focus on stability. You might not get the explosive plus 150 YDS from a hook, but you're much less likely to suffer a catastrophic slice or shank. You're paying GP for consistency.
Makes sense for certain strategies. Then you have caddy relics. These sound like pure safety nets.
That's largely what they are. Variance mitigation, guidance. A typical caddy might let you spend GP to re-roll a result of 5 or 6 once per turn.
An insurance policy.
A very expensive insurance policy sometimes. But if keeping your key dragon out of the water hazard is critical, you pay the price for that caddy's advice.
And the last category, technique relics. You mentioned these are often instants.
Yeah, techniques are usually one-shot deals, big risk-reward plays. A technique might say, make a shot shape roll. If the result is 4, hook, gain plus 200 YDS, but lose 200 GP immediately.
Forcing a specific high-risk outcome for a potential payoff.
Exactly. Short-term gain, often at a steep strategic cost. You use them when you absolutely need that massive yardage right now. Consequences be damned.
This system really does seem to define the factions. You can see their whole philosophy baked into how they interact with this role.
Oh, absolutely. Let's take the Slice Fang Legion. They are all about chaos, aggression, volatility.
They embrace the bad rolls.
They lean into them. Their faction abilities often make the risky outcomes, hooks and slices, even more extreme. A Slice Fang hook might give plus 200 YDS instead of plus 150, but maybe the DG penalty also doubles to negative 200 DG.
Higher highs, lower lows.
Totally. Even their good rolls might be weirdly aggressive. Maybe when they roll a draw 2, which is normally just plus 100 HD plus 50 YDS, a Slice Fang ability adds an extra effect, like forcing the opponent to discard a card. Everything they do pushes the envelope. They either win spectacularly or crash and burn.
Okay, so that's chaos. What about the opposite, the Iron Resolve Legion?
Iron Resolve is discipline incarnate. Stability, control, attrition. They hate volatility.
So they prefer the fades and draws.
They build around them. Their dragons and relics often have abilities that reduce the penalties of bad rolls. An Iron Resolve dragon rolling a 4, hook, might only suffer manage a 50 DG instead of manage 100 DG. Or maybe they can ignore the bunker's manage 100 YDS recovery penalty entirely.
They smooth out the randomness.
Precisely. Their whole game plan is about minimizing the impact of those risky 4, 5, and 6 rolls. They want steady, reliable progress, grinding the opponent down. The shot shape roll outcomes feel fundamentally different depending on which legion is making the roll.
And this all comes to a head during hazard retrieval. You said any retrieval uses this roll.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's gear, a swing technique, whatever relic you use for the rescue, you roll 1d6 on the shot shape table to see how well it goes.
So best case, roll 1.
Roll 1 straight on retrieval. Perfect escape. Dragon comes back safe and sound. Maybe even get a little bonus GP back. A temporary stat boost, like shipping it stiff from the bunker. Clean. But the nightmare scenario.
The nightmare is rolling a 6 shank during retrieval. Absolute disaster.
That happens.
2 possibilities, both terrible. Either the retrieval just flat out fails, your relic card is discarded, your GP is spent, and the dragon stays stuck in the hazard zone. Wasted turn, wasted resources. Or the shank result triggers the out of bounds OB condition. The dragon isn't just stuck, it's gone. Permanently exiled from the game. No second chances.
Wow, rolling a 6 on a rescue attempt can literally remove your card from the game forever.
That's the ultimate penalty. The swing failing catastrophically when you most needed it to work. It makes hazard retrieval incredibly tense.
Especially for those big, powerful, game-winning dragons, right? The par 5 bosses. Getting one back must be huge.
It's often the pivot point of the entire match. Losing one feels like losing the game.
Yeah?
And retrieving one. That's where the risk calculation gets intense.
And you mentioned technique retrieval relics are often the only way.
Yeah, often the really powerful high-cost dragons can only be targeted by specific, usually expensive, technique retrieval relics. These cards offer the potential for that game-saving recovery. But their failure condition, their roll 6 Shank result, almost always carries that mandatory instantaneous OB fail state. No coin flip, just gone.
So you're spending a ton of GP for the chance to get your best unit back, knowing a 1 in 6 roll means it's permanently deleted from the game.
Exactly. That's the kind of razor's edge decision Tee Legion forces on you. How much is that dragon worth? How much risk can you stomach? It's brilliant, brutal game design.
Okay, let's shift gears now. We've covered the relic-driven shot shape roll, the physical quality of the swing. Now let's talk about the other big one, the Knight Strike roll. How is this different?
It's fundamentally different in its focus. While the shot shape roll is about the physics of the shot curve, miss-hit, hazard effect, the Knight Strike roll is about impact, win state, and crucially, tempo shift.
So less about the ball flight, more about the command, the leadership.
Precisely. It's used in two main scenarios. One, when the knight issues a command to a dragon, this roll determines how effectively that command lands. Two, in emergencies, if the knight's lance zone is empty, the knight might have to strike themselves a desperate measure.
And the roll reflects the knight's role as the commander, the player's avatar.
Exactly. It uses the same 1d6 scale, but the outcomes are flavored differently. They often impact things like Dragon Guard, morale, game points, resources, or offer tactical choices rather than just physical results.
Okay, let's walk through the knight's 1 to 6 scale then. How does it map?
All right, roll 1 is perfect impact. Wind is calm. Whatever the knight was trying to do, command a dragon, maybe make a basic strike, it resolves perfectly. Baseline effect, no issues. Clean and simple.
Solid start. Roll 2.
Roll 2 is strong impact, associated with a tailwind. Now here's where you see that command flexibility shine. The knight gets a choice. Either gain plus 50 YDS or gain plus 100 HD.
Ooh, choice. That's different from the shot shape roll. Why that specific choice?
It's all about tempo and tactical priority. Need to push down the course, grab a better position for next turn, take the plus 50 YDS.
Makes sense.
But maybe your opponent has a key dragon sitting right at 100 health remaining. Taking the plus 100 HD lets you remove that immediate threat, clearing the board and maintaining control right now. It's a live decision based on the board state.
Fascinating. Okay, roll 3.
Roll 3 is solid impact, linked to headwind. This is the more defensive or measured command outcome. You gain plus 100 Dragon Guard, DG, bolstering your dragon's defenses.
But there's a cost.
But you sacrifice some forward momentum, negative 50 YDS. You're choosing stability and protection over aggression, reinforcing morale, digging in.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3 for the knight are about clean execution, tactical choice, or defensive posture. Now for the failures.
Right. And the failures here feel less like a bad swing and more like faltering leadership, a breakdown in command.
How so?
Look at roll 4, strained impact, associated with a left crosswind. The penalty isn't primarily physical distance loss, it's magnitude 100 DG. The command was shaky, stressing the dragon, hurting its morale or defensive integrity.
So the unit becomes more vulnerable.
Exactly. And if the knight was making a strike themselves and it misses, then the dragon goes to the bunker hazard. The consequence is physical placement, but the cause feels like command strain.
Interesting distinction. Roll 5.
Roll 5 is wild impact, right crosswind. This feels like a rushed or poor decision by the knight. The penalty hits both effectiveness and position, Nagish 100 HD and Nagish 100 YDS.
Double whammy.
Yeah. The command was sloppy, resulting in a weaker hit and lost ground. If this misses, the dragon ends up in the rough hazard. Again, the knight's poor command leads to a bad physical outcome for the unit.
And the ultimate failure, roll 6 for the knight.
Roll 6. Catastrophic impact. Gusting wind. This is total command failure. If it was a strike action, it results in 0 YDS. Just nothing happens. Complete collapse of the attempt.
No progress at all.
None. And if that strike misses, the dragon faces the worst hazards. Water hazard, or if the knight's card specifies it, the potential for an OB seal.
So it's similar hazard mapping to the shot shape 6, but the reason feels different.
Exactly. A Knight's Roll 6 feels like a psychological breakdown, a massive mental error that cascades into total tactical disaster for the commanded unit. It's not the club slipping, it's the leader faltering under pressure.
So, to summarize the difference, shot shape roll, physical curve, quality of swing, relic driven. Night strike roll, command impact, tempo choices, morale effects, leadership quality.
You nailed it. And this philosophical difference is reinforced brilliantly by the Knight faction roll patterns. The 1-6 numbers are the same, but what those numbers mean changes based on the Knight's Legion.
Oh, like we saw with the shot shape roll variations. Give us an example. How does the Iron Resolve Knight handle a catastrophic failure?
Iron Resolve is all about resilience, remember? Even their failures have a silver lining. If an Iron Resolve Knight rolls a 6, catastrophic impact. Yes, the dragon still goes to a hazard. That core failure state is unavoidable. But the Knight immediately restores plus 100 GP. They lost the unit temporarily, but they regain resources, regain composure. It's a disciplined collapse. They salvage something from the disaster.
Turning tactical failure into a strategic resource gain. That fits.
Perfectly. And even their lesser failures show this. Their roll 4, Strained Impact, which normally gives Nangus 100 DG and sends a unit to the bunker on a miss, might have a special rule for Iron Resolve. Maybe it allows that affected dragon to immediately retrieve another friendly dragon from the bunker for free, ignoring the usual GP cost.
Wow, using a failure state to mitigate another problem. Very defensive, very efficient.
That's Iron Resolve, absorbing punishment, maintaining tempo, minimizing the downside. Now contrast that with the Slice Fang Knight.
The Chaos Agents. How does their roll 6 look?
Maximum volatility, 0 safety net. A Slice Fang Knight rolls a 6. The dragon is sent to the water hazard, standard procedure, but then they have to make an additional d6 roll.
Another roll on top of the 6. Why?
Because Slice Fang thrives on that knife edge risk. On this second roll, odd means the dragon is immediately sealed OB, gone forever, even means it just stays in the water hazard.
So after rolling the worst possible result, they face a 50-50 coin flip for permanent unit loss.
That's Slice Fang. They take an already terrible outcome and inject more high-stakes gambling. If their command fails, the resulting chaos can be absolute and unrecoverable. It perfectly captures their high-risk, high-reward identity.
Okay, so let's zoom out now. We've got the shot shape roll handling the physical swing via relics, and the night strike roll handling command and tempo. When you put these two systems together within the whole Tee Legion structure, that's where the real drama comes from.
It feels like the constant threat of those bad rolls, 4, 5, 6, is what makes the game tick. It stops it from being just about who has the biggest dragon. Precisely. That inherent 50% chance of some kind of negative outcome on any given roll, assuming 4, 5, 6 are negative, which they generally are, makes the Lance Zone, the main battleground, fundamentally unstable. You can't just park your best dragon there and expect it to dominate forever without risk.
Because a bad roll could send it straight to a hazard.
Exactly. And that feeds directly into the importance of the hazard zone. Bunker, rough, water, OB. It's not just a penalty box, it's the game's core risk engine. It prevents players from just spamming attacks linearly.
You have to account for potentially losing your attackers.
You have to actively manage that risk. If your opponent is playing defensively, maybe you risk a Slice Fang hook for massive damage. If they have ways to punish vulnerability, maybe you spend GP on a caddy relic to mitigate that potential shank.
And the finality of OB, out of bounds, really underscores this. That roll 6 possibility hangs over everything.
It's the ultimate punishment. The true graveyard, as the designers call it. Cards sent to OB are gone. No relic brings them back. This threat forces incredibly careful calculation, especially with those powerful, expensive Par 5 dragons. Losing one to OB can easily cost you the match.
So for you, the listener, mastering Tee Legion isn't just about knowing card combos, it's about becoming a shrewd risk manager.
Absolutely, you're constantly weighing probabilities. Is the plus 150 YDS from a potential hook worth the Nacton 100 DG vulnerability and the risk of landing in a bunker? How much GP are you willing to spend on swing relics or caddies just to avoid rolling that 5 or 6?
It becomes a resource allocation puzzle dictated by dice odds.
A puzzle with really flavorful outcomes. That's the other key part, the authenticity. Rolling a 2 for a draw feels like strong, controlled power. Rolling a 5 for a slice feels like that weak, frustrating mishit that loses you distance and tempo. It connects emotionally to the golf theme.
Yeah, it makes each roll feel significant, like a moment on a real course.
And the systems intertwine beautifully. A Knight's command failure, roll 4, Strained Impact, Nanish 100 DG, makes the next shot shape roll riskier, because that dragon is now closer to being knocked out. The stats HD DG YDS tie both role systems together dynamically.
This constant risk also shapes how you even build your deck, right?
Definitely. If the dominant strategy, the meta, is super aggressive, you'll see players packing more caddy relics for protection. If the meta slows down and becomes more about control, players might favor technique relics to try and force those high-reward outcomes like hooks or stability swings for reliable fades. The dice probabilities themselves influence the entire strategic landscape.
You have to respect the dice.
You absolutely have to. You have to spend resources, GP, card slots to manage the inherent risk. The moment you think you can just ignore the possibility of that roll 6 shank, well, that's usually when the game decides to remind you by sending your best dragon out of bounds for good.
Okay, let's try and boil this down. For someone learning the game, the key takeaway seems to be shot shape roll is about the swing's quality. It's tied to relics, determines curve and physical consequences, and governs hazard retrieval. Low roll is good.
Spot on. Physical outcome.
And the Night Strike roll is about command quality. It's tied to the Night, affects tempo, resources like GP, and unit morale via DG. It reflects leadership success or failure.
Exactly. Command impact.
They both use 1/6, but the meaning and consequences are distinct.
Very distinct, yeah. So here's a final thought for you to chew on, connecting back to that risk management. We talked about retrieving those big par 5 dragons, often needing expensive technique relics, and we know the shot-shaped roll governs that retrieval.
And a roll 6 shank means potential OB exile.
Right. So the question is, knowing that a 1 in 6 chance means permanent, unrecoverable loss of potentially your best unit, how much GP are you really willing to sink into that retrieval attempt? How many times do you take that gamble over the course of a match, even if the reward is potentially game-winning? Where do you draw the line?
Ooh, that's tough. The highest risk for the highest reward, but also the most absolute game-ending penalty. That's Tee Legion in a nutshell, isn't it?
Pretty much sums it up. It's not just about power, it's about navigating that constant chaos.
Managing the chaos, indeed. Well, that certainly gives us a lot to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the core dice mechanics of Tee Legion TCG.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.